Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Ponytails with myself, Chris Miller, and that title always gets you, doesn't it? And Mr. David Seaman. David, how's it going?
Yeah, good, thanks. Very good.
Good to see you again. It's been a second week of Premier League football. We've got a lot to cover, but also, want to hear a lot of stories this week as well, because we've been researching a lot into your career and trying to link it to what's been going on actually nowadays in football. There's a lot going on. This week we've had a poor result for Arsenal.
Yeah, very poor. And Stoke just seemed to be a bit of a bogey team. But, and I had a lot of friends saying, I had Arsenal in my forecast and this, that and the other. And I was like, nah, you never do that when they're going away at Stoke.
No.
It's like Stoke away, West Brom away. Them sort of games, they're tricky for Arsenal. I don't know whether it's because they don't get up for it or it's just weird. It just seems to happen too often. But, we'll carry on. We'll see what it goes. We have got injuries to key players in defence, which is why I was very sceptical about before the game, because I knew that it would be hard. It's
is it a psychological thing when you go to a team like Stoke or you go to a West Brom, like you say, the bogey team thing, when enough people talk about it, is that sitting in the back of your mind when you're going to play these clubs?
You do think about it a little bit. I'd say it's more the physical side of it.
Yeah. Is it just the way these teams are playing then? Is it that physicality? Mark Hughes seems to get quite frustrated with that that idea that Stoke is this sort of ultra physical team that's just going to be smashing tackles in and long throws. I don't know
but Mark Hughes would probably know that being physical against Arsenal works.
Yeah.
So that's why he does it. But it's not just all about being physical. They've got ability as well.
Definitely.
They kept a clean sheet, and with not having a lot of possession. The goalkeeper playing really well, getting a couple of breaks and scoring a goal and then holding on to it.
Definitely, you say Jack Butland played really well. He had a great game. He's someone who is really, he's made the number 2 jersey for England. The number 2 spot in the goalkeeping position his own. Is it now time to see him launch into the number 1 position, take that jersey from Joe Hart?
Is Jack Butland ready for number 1? For me, no, not yet. I still feel that he needs more experience at the Premier League level. Joe has got loads of experience. Okay, people are pointing fingers at him. He's let 7 goals in 2 games, but there's been a few penalties, and if you look at the goals, they're not really down to him. So that happens when you're the number 1. The spotlight is on you.
Yeah.
So even a half mistake gets put down as a mistake. So you're really under pressure, but it's good because I remember being number 1 and there was always people saying, "Oh, Nigel Martin should be number 1 or David James should be number 1." It's just the way it goes, and if they play really well, then all the hype starts again. But it's not just a case of playing well and then just stepping in and carrying on your form for England. Ideally, that's what you'd love to do, but it doesn't happen like that. The pressures are much bigger.
Is it really difficult when you're in training every day because when you're in specifically goalkeeping training, you've got your 1, 2 and 3s there with you. You probably, I don't know, is it a real rivalry or can you be good mates with people who are competing so heavily for your position?
There's a massive rivalry. I remember being in England squads when Peter Shilton was number 1. And he used to make us do drills that were good for him, that made him look good. And it was not so good. I'll never forget that.
So what kind of drills are we talking about?
Just like short volleys, old close-in stuff, which Peter was really good at. And obviously I was newish to the squad, so I hadn't done that all my career. He was really good at it, and you get absolutely shattered doing it. All 3, so like me, Chris Woods, and then Peter would do it as well.
And he could just do it all day.
But then Peter would just walk in. So then me and Chris had to go over to the England team players and play with them, and we were shattered.
Yeah.
So it was a little tactic on his part. But
did you ever employ anything like that when you were England number 1, when you had the juniors to you? Like, okay, we're only doing these.
No, because it weren't as one-sided then. A lot of the coaches that I had since. So we had Mike Kelly, who was really good. Then I had like Pete Benetti and Ray Clements. Ray was really good as well. But it was all geared towards the 3 of us, not just one of us. Because you can't do that when I suppose it's because Peter was there for so long that the training was geared towards getting the best out of him. But Yeah, it was good, but it was competitive when I was there.
Definitely. I mean, what is it like when you're in that setup and you know that, let's say when you were in the number 2 and you were ready to take that number 1 jersey, was the whole team, the whole squad, was everyone sort of like just waiting for that moment to happen? Was it pretty awkward to have Shilton? Because you took Shilton's...
No, Peter retired after the World Cup in 1990, Italian 90. And then Chris was the number 2 then, so it was automatic that he then became number 1. So he held that for about, I think it was about 2 or 3 years. It was probably when we played Sheff Wednesday. Arsenal played Sheff Wednesday in 2 cup finals, and he made a mistake on one of the cup finals, and then he lost his confidence then, and then it was my time to step in. But what happens is, you get some players that will say, "Oh, you're miles better than him. I can't believe you're not in." So it doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual thing. You know that, like, if a guy's not playing well, he's still going to get a few chances to stay in there.
Yeah. Because it is such a. I mean, it's so disruptive to just pull your keeper out.
It's a big step. It's not really disruptive for the team, because the guys aren't playing with that same goalkeeper every week in, week out, so they adapt. But it's a gradual thing. When the time is coming, and then you're just waiting. Every team sheet that goes up, you're looking. Oh, didn't make it. Oh, didn't make it.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, then that's your chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's football at the end of the day, and no matter what level you've played, even if it's just playing on the school teams or whatever, or Sunday league, there's still that sense of, it must be similar workings. Like you say, the team sheet goes up, you wait to hear what the gaffer's decision is. Like, whether you're playing an absolute amateur, or if you're playing at the absolute top of your game like you were, there's still those same physics kind of involved in it.
Yeah, there is, and sometimes it doesn't work out. I remember when Graham Taylor took over as England manager, and I think it was the Euros in Sweden. I think it was 92. It took me. It didn't even take me there. It took Chris Woods and Nigel Martin. And I was like, whoa. That was a shock to me. England didn't do very well, obviously,
and we know why.
But so I thought I was like, it was a progression that I'd be like the number 2, but then it didn't work out. And then I remember I think it was in 95 when Terry Venables took over. He just came up to me and went, "You're my number 1 goalkeeper," and that was just brilliant.
Change your regime, change your mindset, and obviously change of opinion about the way that players are playing. Just want to talk to you a little bit actually about the way that it works with rivals moving from club to club, because you've been at Arsenal to see someone like Sol Campbell move from Spurs to Arsenal. We've got a rumour now coming in, a pretty solid rumour, that Johnny Evans is going to join Manchester City, having played for Manchester United. I know he's been at West Brom in between, but what is that like for a player? What from experience, seeing this happen, seeing a player move from absolute arch rival to arch rival, in this situation, something like Sol's, and what are your thoughts on Johnny's move, and how it will be received?
I think with the Johnny Evans thing, because he's gone to a club in between, I think that'll be more acceptable for the Man United fans, because he's left Man United not to go to a bigger and better club. He's gone to West Brom, but now he might be going to City. It's interesting, but I don't think they'll be anywhere near the hatred that was shown towards Sol.
Yeah.
Because Sol came from Tottenham as their club captain and went on a free, so the club got nothing for him. Went to their major rivals. So he's still living in London, and it was just, we were like, wow. But that shows a lot of bottle on Sol's side, because he knew what he wanted. He knew that he wanted to win trophies. Yeah. And he just felt that with Tottenham at that time, they weren't going to win anything. And it was similar to when...
I mean, it's a fair point. It worked out pretty well. I mean, the vitriol and the sort of the hatred, like you say, that was poured out at him throughout his career and ever since. What was that like to experience, and what did you think when he came over, and what was that like to greet him at the club and trying to get him welcomed?
For the players to greet him was no problem, because we've done England duty together, so and we all knew each other. We know each other. So for the players, it's not a problem at all. For the fans, it's massive. You know, and I just felt like, wow, that is such a big decision, because it's not just when he's playing football. You know, he's living in London and he's going out to restaurants and things, and there's Tottenham fans everywhere. And
did you hear horror stories of him?
Yeah, just of him getting, you know, like a lot of abuse and things. But even like when he went back to, excuse me, when he went back to Tottenham with Arsenal, luckily I was injured. Because the coach got wrecked.
Yeah.
You know, the Tottenham fans knew he was in, and they just blasted it with all sorts.
Yeah.
You know, and from what I heard from the lads, the atmosphere was like really, really horrible towards him.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just a game.
Yeah.
You know, I know it means a lot more to the fans, but you know, to do that sort of thing was just totally unacceptable. But it was a massive decision on Sol's point. But looking at it, I knew exactly what he was doing. I did it when I was at QPR.
Mm-hmm.
QPR were happy just to stay in the division. I wanted to test myself further.
Yeah.
And it was a similar situation we saw.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you know, when you boil it down to just pure ambition, often that can give you the thick skin and the sort of the blinkered kind of viewpoint to just go where you need to go. Even as a Tottenham fan, I can see the reasoning behind it. I'll never obviously forgive him for it, but at the same time, I do think there's got to be a line drawn on where it's football. You know, at the end of the day, and yeah, give them jip all day that they're on the pitch, you know, but you know, when it comes to private lives
and things, it's just, that's out of order. But you know, Sol's big enough, and he's a big guy. He's a unit.
He is. I don't fear for Sol. I'm sure he's a good lad. So Johnny, you know, we think he'll probably be all right. He's probably not going to get the Sol Campbell treatment, but I think, you know, pulling on the blue of City will probably. Sort of
it'll
give you a little pinch of the odd United fan.
A few United fans might have a little bit.
Do you know what though? I think that the fact that United now are looking so strong. I mean, and he's sort of maybe a slightly representative of an era of that sort of no man's land era they sat in. They're not exactly looking back with massive regret.
At the moment, they're not. No, but if he goes and then City pick United for the title, and he scores the last goal.
Well, well, that's the thing. We'll have to see. I mean, you were impressed again, I imagine, with Manchester United's performance this week.
Massively. Yeah, they look strong. But then I think Chelsea were doing the same last year. Yeah. Or somebody was, I can't remember who it was, but looking really strong. And then
Arsenal always look strong. Well, they used to always look strong at the beginning of the season.
But when you look at Man United, it's different because they've got quality everywhere now. You know, and they've got quality on the bench.
Yeah, well, I think it'd be interesting to see when they get put up against a real testing opposition.
Yeah.
You know, a bit like as you're watching the Spurs Chelsea game, I'm not crying my eyes out about losing to the champions. It is frustrating to do it technically at home, but again, first game there, and we played pretty well. But with that, the hoodoo regards that game, you think that that's something that's just kind of made up psychological sort of thing, a press story, or do you think that this could be something that's going to really trouble Spurs this year?
It could be a trouble for Spurs. It's not a hoodoo.
No.
The problem they've got is similar to when Arsenal played at Wembley in the Champions League, is that the clubs coming to Wembley lift their game.
Yeah.
Because they're playing
exactly
at Wembley.
What Conte said after the game. Said it's going to inspire clubs.
It does.
And teams.
It certainly does. You know, because like there's teams that are still in the Premier League, and there's players there that won't get the chance to play at Wembley.
Yeah.
You know, and so they've got their first chance at Wembley. They're gonna lift themselves.
What was it like for you guys? You played, was it 98, 99 and 99, 2000, I think? Was that right? For Arsenal went to the National Stadium and played. You had a similar kind of curse, I'd say. Like,
you know, but it's like what I say. We know we're playing at Wembley, so we get used to it.
Yeah.
But the other teams come, and just for some reason, you know, they're playing in the Champions League, and then it's at Wembley. Yeah. You know, so I remember us getting absolutely battered by Barcelona there. Yeah. You know, the Arsenal fans were like clapping even if I picked up a back pass or whatever. You know, and it was embarrassing, but you know, we got battered. But it's a great place to play, but it's not so good when you're not winning.
Definitely. I mean, you know, and also Chelsea, a team that have actually, you know, they've won the most, the Premier League team that has won the most games at Wembley. Yeah. That's a kind of a little home stadium for them.
Yeah, they've got confidence when they go there.
And, you know, props to them as well. It's good to be able to say that you've been at Wembley so much that you can actually...
But I wouldn't be, as a Tottenham fan, I wouldn't be worried because when you look at how they played, they're playing against Chelsea,
Yeah.
and Chelsea won the league last year. Okay, like they got beat last week in a free game, and they're still real quality. But Tottenham held their own, but unfortunately, Hugo didn't do too good at the near post.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on that? I mean, like when you watch in slow motion,
Wrong decision.
It's very easy.
Wrong decision to go with his hands.
Yeah,
he should have gone with his feet.
Yeah,
he'll know that.
He's the kind of goalkeeper who usually sticks out a boot or gets his foot.
Yeah, I was surprised that he went with his hand.
Yeah,
and it went under his body. But it's much easier save to just stick your foot there.
A little lack of focus, maybe. I know that the game had twisted, and after the equalising goal, it was feeling like Spurs were the ones who were going to go on to win it. Maybe a little drop in focus there.
Concentration, yeah.
I wouldn't know. I'm not a professional goalkeeper, so I'm not even going to try.
It's these little decisions, though, little split decisions, that you make.
Completely, and it changes the game. It decides the game. I'm not going to be too sad, and I'll wipe these tears away, and we'll get on to the next part of this. We've got some fan questions. Ponytails podcast fans have been tweeting us, and actually, funny one. The first one they've got in from Gunnosaurus Rex on Twitter. We're just talking about the grounds, playing at the National Stadium. What was the most intimidating ground you ever played at? And maybe the Sol Campbell White Hart Lane thing is up there, but I've got a feeling that there might be some.
Yeah, I played in. I think we played in the Champions League for Arsenal away at. I think it was somewhere like Apoel, something like that.
Is that a Greek team?
Greek, yeah. And we went out for the game. And you go and have a look at the pitch before the game, you got your suit on and everything. We walked out the tunnel to just booze and everything. The ground was full. Right? This is like 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours before the game. The ground was full. And then they all just started singing together and clapping together. Like was it Finland or whatever, where they do the clap.
Yeah, that big over the head.
Yeah, well that's where that came from.
Right.
And they were doing that, and then they're all singing together and jumping up and down, and we were thinking, oh my God. And then from that, we walked from the middle of the pitch, down the tunnel, to boos and whistles and stuff being thrown at us, and we're we've got an hour and a half to go before we even get started.
What was it like when you're actually in that atmosphere?
Once you start the game,
you're focused.
It's gone.
It must be hard for you though. You're sitting. You can't move you're standing not too far from those front rows. Maybe.
But
was it one of the stadiums with the cage sort of? Front?
Lots.
Yeah.
And
something about that just looks so much more menacing. I find.
Yeah, but then when the game starts, and you're thankful for the cage because all you can hear is ting ting when they're throwing coins at you and hitting the cage.
Yeah.
I remember playing for England away at Sweden, and I was second choice, and I was coming on in the second half, and I was doing a warm up before the game. And all of a sudden, this massive, 12-inch yellow dart just went straight over my shoulder and landed in the ground.
Wow.
And I was to the goalkeeping coach, I went, can we go and warm up in the middle of the pitch?
Jesus.
A full-on proper dart just whistled past just over my shoulder.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What do you do in that situation? Literally
just walk out, show steward or whatever what's happened, and then just go into the.
Yeah, I used to hear stories about darts back from the.
I've had all sorts darts, rocks, eggs, fireworks.
Jeez. It just adds another element to the game that you've got to try.
You know what?
Yeah. Well, now it's a bit more of a family atmosphere, which is nice. Great stuff. So we got Sam95 on Twitter asking if there was one manager you could have played under who you didn't, who would it have been? Or maybe it's a manager past and present. Maybe there's managers now that weren't around when you were playing. Good question.
First
Thank you, Sam.
First two that come into my mind would be Alex Ferguson, which I did have the chance of playing under him before I signed for Arsenal.
Oh yeah.
But I think there's just something about Jose Mourinho that I love.
Yeah,
I love his arrogance, but I love his quality as well. Yeah. He's not being arrogant without backup. He's got a lot of backup. And
do you think that because he's such a big character, is there that fear of he strikes me as the kind of person you get on the wrong side of him, or you say something slightly wrong, one weird performance or whatever, and he can crush players as well.
Yeah, I bet he can. But if the players are doing it for you, then he certainly backs you. I just like the way he does his stuff. I've met him as well, and he's a nice guy.
Good stuff. Well. Couple nice questions there from our Ponytails fans. Let's move on to the main event, the quiz, because we here at Ponytails love a good quiz with David Seaman. You're very good at it. This one is called, originally titled David Seaman on David Seaman.
Wow.
This is you on your career. What do you know about yourself and your playing career? And we'll see how you get on. So you are England's second most capped goalkeeper with 75 caps. But who is number one?
Okay, yeah, Peter Shilton.
Oh, easy. There you go. Peter Shilton is correct. Very good. Number two, what are your combined transfer fees?
Ooh.
According to transfermarket.co.uk, I don't know if that's a plug or... But thank you, transfermarket.co.uk.
So, apparently, I went to Leeds to Peterborough. Apparently, I think there was like a £4,000 fee.
Was it like an Alan Smith packet of tracksuits or whatever?
I don't know. I got told I weren't good enough, and that's all I was bothered about. So that's four. Then
do you want me to give you a little clue? Well, I've got to give you three choices: 1.2 million, 2.2 million, or 3.2 million.
What?
Combined? Yeah? No? Does that not?
No. Because I went from QPR to Arsenal for 1.3.
I've got pretty much. Got that.
1.3, 225, I think, from QPR to QPR.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, then about 100 from Peterborough to Birmingham.
Yeah. So now it's just a case of how's your maths.
What did you say?
1.2 million, 2.2 million, or 3.2 million. So we got them tested.
What, am I going the closest?
Yeah. Which one do you think is closest?
Oh,
wait, no, which one do you think it is?
Well, it's not any of them.
Do you not think?
Oh. 2? So 1.3 plus 225?
We've got 1.8 for QPR to Arsenal.
No. Wrong.
Jesus. What is this?
1.3.
Okay, fine. We will sack the researchers. It's okay.
See, I know my figures.
See, he knows his quizzes so well. He can call us out.
Record transfer for a goalkeeper.
I love it. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna throw out. So we reckon it was probably 2 or 1.9 million, maybe 1.9 million total.
Yeah.
Answer D. None of the above. Okay, in Euro '96, a competition that's etched into my childhood memories. Showing my age there.
My memories. Not my childhood, but my memories.
You famously saved a spot kick against Spain to knock them out of the tournament. But who took it?
I know.
Yeah?
Yes. It was Rafa Nadal's uncle or something.
Oh. Yeah, I was just seeing
the Beast of Barcelona, they called him.
Yeah.
Nadal. I don't know his first
Miguel Angel Nadal.
Yeah. It's
Barcelona player at the time.
To Rafa.
And I remember you saying that you didn't even know that you'd actually won.
For about 2-3 seconds, I get up, I've saved it, and I get up, and then I look, and then I just see all the lads running towards me. Then I realise it.
That's good. You're so focused on just save the penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you and 2 other players were named in the UEFA team of the tournament for Euro '96.
From England.
From England. Do you remember who those players were?
I would go with Shearer.
That's correct.
And
we've got a curly-headed scouse who probably...
It's
McManaman.
I nearly said Gaza. Yeah, okay.
He's probably a bit busy working on his celebrations. Number 5. According to the internet, how many... This is good. See, I like that. You just passed the blame on a little bit. According to the internet, how many yellow cards did you get in domestic football?
Yellow?
Yes.
Oh. I'd say about... I'm just guessing about 6.
5 was the answer.
Is it?
So I can't give you the point.
I got a red card as well.
You did get red. What was that? That wasn't the one with Robbie Fowler.
No.
One of these yellow cards must have been for that where he.
No, because I don't think I got a card for that. But
because you think the referee? Because I remember you saying, so basically this is Arsenal versus Liverpool.
Yeah.
Fowler goes past, drops a hell of a dive.
Yeah.
He then gets up and says to the ref. The ref gives a penalty.
Yeah. He went. Ref. He says he never touched me. And the referee just looked, and I went, I never touched him, ref. And he went, well, I made my decision. And then
maybe that's why he didn't give you the card. I'm going to give you the card now.
He got up and he walked back. He went, sorry, Dave.
Then he took the penalty.
And then he took the penalty. Then he hit it. I saved it, and then I think it was McAteer smashed the rebound.
Oh,
yeah.
Let's see if we can get a clip up for that. Yeah. We've got to show that moment as well.
But I got a red card against West Ham.
West Ham.
I took out, I don't know, it's Tony Morley or Trevor Morley.
Trevor Morley.
Striker.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, we did 1-0 at the time. Came out, run out of my box. He just got to the ball before me, clotheslined him. I didn't even wait. Just put my hand up. I went, I know, and off I went.
Nice. Well, look, you weren't famous for your disciplinary problems. You're much more so for the like big hands on the ball. For the balls? Never mind. End this quiz. I'm going off the rails. Brilliant, David. Thanks again so much for doing this. We do this every single week, brought to you by SpottoCash.com. You can win £10,000 every single week. I don't know if you've seen the branding here, but make sure you go and play SpottoCash.com. I'm here with David, choosing a winner every week as well. David, I'll speak to you next time.
Pleasure.
And see you all next time. Bye.